17th century poet and preacher John Donne is the subject of my research, and as such I spend a lot of time with him, and he's not always the easiest of companions, especially for a woman priest. But this year I've been particularly drawn to Donne's willingness to observe the decay of his own body, the darkness of his own soul, and yet to cling on in hope. Even as his eyes are fixed on his own destruction, Donne is simultaneously fascinated by immortality, by the spark of infinity that is the image of God in him. "But I am more than dust and ashes," he cries out in the devotions that he composed while gravely ill. "I am my best part. I am my soul." The reading I've chosen is from the most Christmassy of Donne's many Christmas sermons, which in truth are not very Christmassy. The tableau of Mary and Joseph and the baby, the shepherds and the angels, that didn't actually feature very often in early modern Protestant imaginations. But what we get from this time is a sense of the unfathomable paradox of the Christmas story, of the infinite and the eternal, born as a frail human child, immensity cloistered in thy dear womb, as Donne says in his sonnet sequence, La Corona. In this sermon that I've chosen to read from 1624, Donne reminds his congregation of God's power to transform even the very darkest night. And I pray that God may so shine on you and on those you love this Christmastide. From John Donne's sermon preached at Paul's on Christmas Day in the evening, 1624. God made sun and moon to distinguish seasons, and day and night, and we cannot have the fruit of the earth but in their seasons. But God hath made no decree to distinguish the seasons of his mercies. In paradise, the fruits were ripe the first minute, and in heaven it is always autumn. His mercies are ever in their maturity. We ask, panem quotidianum, our daily bread. And God never says, you should have come yesterday. He never says, you must come again tomorrow. But today, if you will hear his voice, today he will hear you. If some king of the earth have so large an extent of dominion in north and south, as that he hath winter and summer together in his dominions, so large an extent east and west, as that he hath day and night together in his dominions, much more hath God mercy and judgment together. He brought light out of darkness, not out of a lesser light. He can bring thy summer out of winter, though thou have no spring, though in the ways of fortune or understanding or conscience thou have been benighted till now, wintered and frozen, clouded and eclipsed, damped and benumbed, smothered and stupefied till now. Now God comes to thee, not as in the dawning of the day, not as in the bud in the spring, but as the sun at noon to illustrate all shadows, as the sheaves in harvest to fill all penuries. All occasions invite his mercies, and all times his seasons.